Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to get back onto this Yamaha group build. I'm going to show you what I'm doing with this simulated 3-inch hose, stainless steel wire mesh, and why there's a chunk cut off my transmission of a Caterpillar engine. So you're going to see that and more. Make sure you stay tuned.
High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives. You create thoughts. Never waste time. You got one shot. You got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5. No mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts.
Hello BSC family, and welcome back to my bench. My name is Mark, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing with this Yamaha group build put on by Jamie G and Cliff. I'll leave links for their channels down in the description. If you like any of this stuff, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on anything. So let me show you where I'm at right now. So yes, this Yamaha group build, this is what I'm building. Now if you haven't seen up to this point yet of this bike, go up here in this corner right there, right, and you'll see a link there for the playlist of the videos for this, right? So what have I been doing? Well, in the last video I haven't gotten very far, right, but there's been some major changes. So we're going to show you here what I've done. So in the last video I kind of showed you what my idea was, right? And putting this Caterpillar engine into a Yamaha motorcycle. Now, the reason I did that is because the size of a 125 scale Caterpillar engine from a big rig would be roughly the size of a 1/12 scale 4-cylinder diesel. Okay, so you gotta use your imagination just a little bit, but either way, it's kind of cool. All right. So, thanks to Cliff, here's an engine that Cliff sent me, and he also sent me this one. So again, thank you very much, Cliff, for that. And he sent me them primarily for this project. All right. Now, of course, normally on the engines, they have this really long transmission. This one's slightly different style, but pretty close to the exact same engine. But so yeah, I popped off the back piece. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here for you. So yeah, I popped off this back piece, which is here, right? Then I cut this piece off, this whole chunk of the transmission, cut it off of basically the bell housing, took this piece and glued it on here. But as I glued it on here, I kind of fitted it to the engine, so all of this stuff is kind of happening all at the same time, okay? You know, so I didn't just glue this on here. I had to do stuff to the bike so that I knew where this was going to sit so that I could glue this on. And yeah, so this is all happening all at the same time, right? Not just cut it off, glue it on. Yep, that's good. No, I wanted this to line up with a specific part on the bike, right? So that's what I did to that first. Okay, so I've got that. I popped off turbos, intake tubes, things like that, so that I had space to work with and figure out how I'm going to mount this. This does have a center point 2-bolt engine mount at the front, whereas this one here, this one has a frame spread mounting point, so it's on either side of the frame, which would still work, but you know, this one here worked better for me, right? So that's where I'm at with the engine. Now I'll show you here in a little bit why I have this stuff, okay, and why I have this stuff. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So I mean, I'm pretty much not using the instructions at all. So we took the motorcycle, right? And obviously the engine is not going to fit in that motorcycle frame. So I've decided I'm going more of a rat rod motorcycle, obviously, because I mean, we've got a diesel engine, but I also wanted a chopper and a Springer front end style, rigid rear end. So, you know, as a backyard mechanic guy, took this motorcycle and he started cutting it up, right? Not a whole lot of knowledge on motorcycles, so basically something that used to have a swing arm still has a swing arm, but instead of shocks they made steel bars and bolted it in those places, making it a rigid, you know, things like that. So here is the frame so far. This is far from being done, so don't say, oh, you know, you're not going to support that engine, blah blah. No shit. All right, I know it's not going to support it. It's not done yet, but here's where I'm at. And yes, that is a 3D printed oil drum, and there is more to come. I've got to print some more in different sizes. So, but anyways, as you can see, I put these basically steel bars in, turning this swing arm into a rigid. Right now, I did cut the frame, the original frame, right here, right, and obviously it's up here, as you can see. You can see where I cut it here, and I had to extend it, which I did. 2 tubes and a flat piece of styrene, right? And then I built this area here so that it matched up with the tabs on the engine, right? Then of course I needed the carrier bar with the steel plate, the holes in it, to carry the front bar, or the front of the engine, right? Then I, instead of cutting all this front steering tube off, I just found another one that would work, just a piece of styrene. You can see it there in the center, and I bolted the triple trees to it, right? And then I cut a couple rods and cut the front shocks off. I kept the lower parts, right? And yes, I know a Springer front end doesn't normally have brakes. Well, this one does, and it's my bike. I want to be safe. I still got to finish making all the Springer front end, but then I filed out the top of the triple tree barrel and created an angle that I think looks good, right? Now, you're probably wondering, how's that engine going there? Well, there's more bars that I have to make, but for now, this engine goes right in here, just like this. Sometimes it's a little finicky, but that's okay. Pop that in there, move the steel plate piece to where it needs to be, and voila. You now have a Caterpillar engine sitting in a Yamaha motorcycle, right? And yes, steering still works. Okay. So, of course, now, to be able to paint this frame and stuff, I can't paint it with the engine in there, which is why I've left the lower bars off, okay? So, I know that because it's a rat rod, there's going to be rust and stuff on it, big deal. So, my thought was paint everything when it's done, paint the engine, put the engine in, and then I can make some lower bars that go from here across, right? Maybe, and those will be like bolt-in crossbars so that, you know, you can actually get the engine out in real life. And then, of course, maybe one from here up here, but I still have the foot pegs, right? Now, the foot pegs are actually going to go somewhere right about here, okay? So now I've obviously got to make bars that come up from here up to this one, same thing on the other side, right? But that's roughly where those foot pegs are going to go, somewhere right about there, okay? Which is probably pretty close to where they would have been in the first place, right? So that's that. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what about a radiator? Well, that's where this stuff comes in. This here is, if you go to the dollar store or even Walmart, whatever, and you pick up they're a big circle, steel ring circle, right? And they're meant to put on top of your frying pans as a splatter screen, right? So that's what this is. Now you can get it in different styles. This one is basically a woven, I think it's a box weave, and it's kind of welded together somewhat. It could be just friction fit, I think. But there's a flat one. Then there's another style that's flat, but it's a woven, I think it's a diamond weave stainless steel, which likes to move around a lot. But I chose this one, right? Because this kind of looks like radiator screen, right? Okay, since I have audio problems and I didn't turn the mic on, I'm going to try and explain what I'm doing. So here we've got 2mm rod. I use this to make the radiator. Here's a 5mm square rod, a little bit of U-channel, and some flat styrene. So with all of this stuff and a little bit of some mesh, I made the radiator. Now the radiator, I used a little bit of aluminum tubing, and made the radiator rad hose spots, and just kind of put everything together. And as you can see here, I'll show you a little closer. Come on, focus in. There you go. So now you can see that the mesh that I put in there, there's two layers, one in the front, one in the back, with the 2mm square rod in between them to kind of separate them. And as you can see, it is see-through, barely, but it is. All right. So that there will sit right underneath up front. I made a little steel pad, right? And it'll sit right up against, and I'll make a little bracket that goes on top. I think it's going to look pretty good. And here's the bracket that I made. It'll sit where the original steering shaft goes through. So I'll glue that on there into the top of the radiator. Kind of like so, but of course shorter. Okay, so there you go. Now, I guess if you're liking these videos, make sure you hit that thumbs up for me, please. Definitely hit the subscribe button. Definitely hit that bell notification. Make sure that all notifications are turned on, right? And yeah, if you want to follow me on my Instagram and my Facebook group, links for them are down in the description. And if you want to help out the channel in any way, I do have a PayPal Me link and a Join Me button. And if you want, check out the merch on my Teespring store. And yeah, that all helps out the channel and all goes back into the channel. So no matter what, make sure you build it your way and just have fun with it. And until next time, later.